You're welcome to today's class. So in today's class, I'm going to be teaching you about plant nutrition. We know that nutrition means feeding. So all living organisms feed, so including plants. So nutrition in plants is what we're going to be discussing in today's class. So the process by which plants feed is the process of photosynthesis. So because plants are autotrophs, they are able to manufacture their own food on their own, unlike animals that are not autotrophs, that they are heterotrophs. Because they cannot manufacture their food, they depend on food that are manufactured by plants. So plants carry out the process of photosynthesis in order to manufacture their food, and the process is a process by which they use their chlorophyll pigment in association with carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight to make food. So this photosynthesis comes in two stages. So we have the light stage and the dark stage. So the light stage of photosynthesis and the dark stage of photosynthesis. During the light stage of photosynthesis, which occurs during the day, we can see that the chlorophyll in the leaves of plants traps the energy that is coming from the sun, and they use this energy to split water into hydrogen plus ion and hydroxyl, that is hydroxyl ion, that's H plus and OH minus. So this process is called photolysis of water. So that is what happens in the light stage. Photolysis of water happens in light stage, whereby energy from the sunlight is used to split water into that is trapped by the chlorophyll in the leaves of plant, and they use it to split water into hydrogen plus ion and hydrogen and hydroxyl OH minus ion. All right. So now, so when the OH minus is when the water is has been splitted, the OH minus will be converted into water. So the OH minus will be converted into water, and and in the process oxygen will be formed. So this oxygen will be sent out because it is not needed in the plant. So oxygen is a byproduct in the photosynthesis process. So during the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is a byproduct because it is not needed. So when the OH minus is converted back into water, oxygen will be produced also, but it's a byproduct that will be given off. Then the hydrogen plus ion that is remaining, this hydrogen plus ion will reduce a compound. There's a compound we call NADP. So this hydrogen ion will reduce this NADP into NADPH, and in the process ATP will be formed. So ADP, that is adenosine triphosphate, it will be formed in the light stage. So this occurs in the light stage of photosynthesis. Now we're going to be looking at the dark stage of photosynthesis. This dark stage of photosynthesis occur in the night or when there is no sun. So I've said it that the hydrogen plus ion will reduce NADP into NADPH. Now the ATP that is generated from the energy that is generated from ATP together with the reduced compound, they will be used to assimilate carbon dioxide. This is a series of chemical processes that are catalyzed by various enzymes through different stages. So at the end, a three carbon compound will be produced. This three carbon compound that is formed in the dark stage, it will serve as the building block for higher molecules like simple sugars, proteins, fat and oil, and so on. So they form these three carbon molecule in the dark stage of photosynthesis. So now we are going to be looking at materials and conditions that are necessary for photosynthesis. So for photosynthesis to occur in plants, there are some materials and conditions that need to be available for the process to take place. So we have the internal factors and the external factors. So the internal factors include sunlight. I said it that energy from the sun is what is trapped in the chlorophyll. So sunlight is an important factor that should be available. The optimal temperature, yes, the right temperature is is also an important factor. So water also is necessary for photosynthesis to take place, and also carbon dioxide. So for carbon dioxide also is needed for photosynthesis to take place. Then we have mineral salt. So there are some minerals that are present in the soil that plants will use these minerals during the process of photosynthesis, because in the process different enzymes are needed to catalyze the process in the dark stage. So these enzymes are gotten from the mineral salt that are present in the soil. So we can see these are the external factors that are needed for photosynthesis to take place. Why the internal factors include enzymes and chlorophyll. So that means any plants that lacks chlorophyll, like we have some non-green plants, they are not able to carry out photosynthesis because they are devoid of chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is an important internal factors that must be present, because the photosynthesis will only happen in the parts that contains the green pigment, in the green part of the plant, mainly the leaves. So that is where photosynthesis occur, in the green parts of the plant. So chlorophyll is also needed. Then enzymes. So enzymes are internal factors that are present in the plant. So they are needed to catalyze various stages, or to help various stages to be achieved during the assimilation of carbon dioxide. So we have seen these substances that are needed, these materials and these conditions. So what are the importance of photosynthesis? So aside from the process of feeding, of the process by which plants manufacture their own food, we also have benefits that can be derived from the process. The first one is the production of food, because I said it earlier that autotrophs are not able to produce their food. So they don't just live, they rely on food that are produced by the heterotroph, heterotrophs are not able to produce their food. So they rely on food that are produced by autotrophs. So autotrophs are green plants. So they use this food, and they get energy and different nutrients that is needed to carry out their body metabolism. So it serves as a means of production of food for animals. And also another thing is that it serves to purify the environment. Yes, because in a lot of ways carbon dioxide are being released into the environment, and the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the environment is toxic to man and to animals. So but through the process of photosynthesis, these carbon dioxide are used by green plants to make useful materials to us, and in the process the atmosphere are purified. Because if not for photosynthesis, we have a lot of ways by which carbon is being released into the atmosphere, like through decomposition of plants and animals, through the burning of fuels, and even through respiration of man. Because when we carry out respiration, we breathe out carbon dioxide, which goes into the atmosphere. All these are trapped by green plants, and they use the carbon dioxide in making their own food. So in that way it purifies the air that we breathe in. So another thing is that the process of photosynthesis produce a three carbon compound. I told us these serve as building blocks for higher molecules. We have molecules like protein, fat and oil, and simple sugars that are produced from these three carbon compounds that have been formed during the dark stage of photosynthesis. And also it serves as a way by which oxygen will be released into the atmosphere. Yes, when the when the H minus, the OH minus, when it is converted back into water, oxygen serve as a byproduct in the reaction. So this oxygen is released into the atmosphere, and animals use this oxygen as a means of survival. So we breathe in that oxygen because that is what is needed in the body of animals. So through the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is being released into the atmosphere for continuity of life of animals. So we can see the different importance of photosynthesis. Now, plant nutrients. When we talk about plant nutrients, these are materials, these are nutrients that are needed by plants for them to be able to carry out all their photosynthetic reactions, even for them to grow, for them to be able to carry out all their activities, for them to bear fruits, For them to do everything that is done by living organism, they need the right nutrients. So we have the macronutrients and the micronutrients. So these are the two groups of plant nutrients that we have, the macronutrients and the micronutrients. Why the why the macronutrients are needed in large quantity by the plant, the micronutrients are needed in trace amounts. That means they are not needed in large quantity. So example of macronutrients include nitrogen. Yes, nitrogen is an important macronutrient because it is needed for protein synthesis. For protein to be formed in plants, they need nitrogen, and even for the formation of enzymes. Yes, for formation of enzymes, and also for the formation of nucleic acid. So nitrogen is needed. So the deficiency of nitrogen will lead to poor growth, stunted growth, yellowing of leaves, so and reduced leaves. We can say the plant will not have enough leaf. So these are deficiency of nitrogen. So the next macronutrient is we have phosphorus. So phosphorus is also an important macronutrient which is needed by plants. They are needed for good root development and also to activate some enzymatic reactions. So like many reactions take place in the body of plants that need enzymes. So these reactions are activated by phosphorus. So they are needed for, and even for cell development. So phosphorus is needed. So deficiency of phosphorus will lead to weak plants. The plant will be weak, the stem will be slender, and even there will be discoloration in the plants. It can be turning to yellow, sorry, to brown. So this shows that there is deficiency of phosphorus. So another macroorganism is potassium. So potassium also is needed for carbohydrate synthesis, for cell wall formation. You know, cell wall is needed to make the plant to be rigid. So potassium is needed for this, and also for cell membrane formation. So potassium is needed to form the cell membrane of a plant. So one deficiency of potassium will lead to stunted growth, and there will be a brown margin on the leaves. So brown margin will be on the leaves. So this, and even poor growth of the plants, poor growth of the plants. So this shows that the plant is deficient of potassium. So the next one is calcium. So calcium also is an important macronutrient that is needed for growth of root tips. So calcium is needed for the formation of, root tips. For them to grow normally, the plants need calcium, and also it neutralizes organic acid in the soil. So calcium is needed to neutralize organic acid in the soil. Another one is to form cell wall. So this will give rigidity to the plant. So deficiency of calcium will lead to poor root development. It can also lead to stunted growth. It can lead to stunted growth. So these are the macronutrients. So now micronutrients. Now the nutrients that are needed in trace amounts include zinc. So zinc is a micronutrient. So this zinc to activate enzymes. So it's needed for enzymes activation. So zinc is needed to activate enzymes. So the deficiency of zinc leads to poor leaf formation. So another micronutrient is boron. So boron is a micronutrient. So boron aids the transport of calcium and sugar in the plant. So, and when there is deficiency of boron, the plants will be turning to brown color. So we have molybdenum. Molybdenum is also a micronutrient. So this molybdenum, it aids the fixation of nitrogen, and it also activates nitrates. So the deficiency can lead to stunted growth of the plant. Then we have one we'll be talking about is silicon. Silicon also is a micronutrient that is needed for cell formation, for cell wall formation. So the deficiency of silicon will lead to poor growth. So we have seen how plants feeds, how this feeds, how the process of their feeding is important to man and its environment. And also we have seen different nutrients that are needed for the survival of plants, and not only for them to be able to survive, it's also needed for them to be able to carry out the process of photosynthesis and for them to grow normally, and the effects of deficiency of these materials. So I believe I've been able to teach you something new today. So I'm going to see you in our next class. Bye.